Hey YouTube, it's your girl Dr. J, and I thought I would come and do a video because Tifazor for her Homeschool Moms Connect has us talking this month about husbands' involvement in homeschooling, and I definitely wanted to go ahead and do this video. I had shot it before, but I never uploaded it, so I'm going ahead and doing a reshoot so that I can also at the end give an update just on how homeschooling is going for us in general for the month of October. But when it comes to husbands' involvement in homeschooling, I think that I've seen a lot of the videos that have been out there for people that talk about their husband's involvement, and it's nice to see there's such diversity and involvement and things like that. For me, my husband is extremely involved in our homeschooling. I mean, extremely involved in our homeschooling. As in, I don't make any decision in a vacuum. When it comes to curriculum decisions, my husband and I sit down together and talk about where we want to go with the kids' curriculum. Before I do any purchase, like I got the Easy Read program. You guys know we do Easy Read, and that was, a more expensive program. So my husband actually sat down and looked through the demo, and we talked back and forth about it, and we said, yeah, this is going to be good. Even if it's not really expensive, like Reading Assistant wasn't a really expensive curriculum choice, but since it was going to be a major choice, my husband sat down and played with it a little bit, and we made that decision together. He also is very involved in the decision of when to start the twins on that particular program. So pretty much every single curriculum decision that I make, I do not make alone. My husband and I sit down together and we discuss what are the pros, what are the cons, do we really want to do this? Also, when it comes to, even things like my Amazon cart, because y'all know I am an Amazon girl, and so my husband actually, I'll let him know that I have a cart, and he'll go and he'll look through the cart, he'll take some things out of the cart, he'll add some things into the cart. He'll say, okay, well, I see you got this workbook on there. How are you going to use that workbook with the kids? And okay, well, I looked through some of the pages and I don't think that'll work. What about this? So we really sit down and we really have conversations about really everything that we have planned for the kids. It's not me doing it and him just, handing over money. It's not him saying, okay, you do that. We really are both involved in the process. For instance, just to give you an example of his involvement, about a week or so ago, I had a doctor's appointment, and so he took a few hours off work for the morning while I went to the doctor's appointment, and he handled the homeschool routine for that morning. So he got the kids to get online and do their math program. They did their reading. He sat down with them and did some Life of Fred, and then I think I posted for you guys that he actually came up with a Jeopardy game where he did some diverse repetition with them and allowed them to practice some math concepts and also some astronomy by setting it up in the form of a Jeopardy game. That was all his doing. He came up with it. He came up with the questions, the dollar amount, the whole process. And he didn't have to sit down and say, okay, kids, what chapter are you on for Life of Fred? He knew where they were. He knew the process. He knew that was one of the supplements that they use. So, if something happened to me tomorrow where I could not homeschool, he could completely stop and step into the process and take over the process from there, and the kids wouldn't miss a beat. Another way that he's involved in it is that, like my son, my eldest is in 3rd grade, so he really only has 2 more years after this year, so about 2.5 years of elementary school. And so just this morning, my husband and I talked a little bit about kind of what we wanted to do with him for middle school and what we wanted to have done before high school. When I say middle school, it's, how are we going to homeschool the middle years, and how are we going to homeschool the high school years? We talk about that. We talk about it a lot. We tend to plan years and years in advance so that we can make sure that nothing gets missed that we wish the kids had an opportunity to be involved in. So we have those conversations pretty much all the time. Another way that my husband is involved in homeschooling is that a lot of times my kids do a lot of competition. So if they do first Lego League, he's generally the coach. This year they're doing Destination Imagination, and he is, being their primary coach for Destination Imagination. In a couple weeks they're going to be presenting at a local college for their chemistry night. So he's in charge of those chemistry projects for their inventors competition. He and actually my father-in-law we'll be working with them for the inventors competition. And my father-in-law actually was the one who worked with my son, my oldest son, last year for the inventors competition. So my husband is just absolutely 100% completely involved in the homeschooling process. So he's not on the sidelines. He doesn't just get reports. He's an active participant in the kids homeschooling. He'll send me things. He'll say, this class looks good. I would like the kids to do that, or hey, what do you think about taking the kids here to do this? So he's just completely involved in the process. And I mean, we add everybody in. So when my mom's in town, she'll teach the kids how to crochet or something. My mother-in-law is, going to be teaching the twins how to sew. So I like to keep, people in the loop, because if they have something to offer and they want to offer it, we do that. So that's one of the reasons why I send out the newsletter to friends and family. And my husband will give me feedback on the weekly newsletter, like, okay, you use this, like he has pictures, so he'll make sure that all the pictures that he took are uploaded, so that, if I want to add some of the things that he did with the kids into the newsletter, I can do that. So he's just, really, really involved in the process. Because he's so involved in the process, sometimes we do have to remind ourselves, like, okay, let's not talk about homeschooling the kids, let's talk about something else. But we tend to, we like, some similar things. So we try to make sure that we have good, conversations and time together. I will say we do attachment parenting. So, my kids, they have nightmares, and they'll, be up in our bed like, okay, I had a bad dream, scoot over, So it's not like we get a ton of time where it's just us. We really don't use babysitters a lot. Like, my in-laws, are in town, so they will, the kids will spend the night over there. And, if we are, visit, one of my siblings, their aunt, they may spend the night over there, but we really don't use like babysitters and things like that. So we don't have, a ton of time, that's just us, except for in the evenings. And sometimes I fall asleep, in the evenings, because I get up so early in the morning to work. But we talk a lot. We talk all through the day. Like for his lunchtime, he'll call, and I'll call when I'm on my way home from school from teaching, so we really, we really talk just all the time. And if we'll email each other. We tend to, really just try to make sure that we stay friends too. And, not just get so much in a routine that it's just parent duty. We try to make sure we laugh and talk and joke and all the other things that married people do to make sure that your marriage stays healthy. Because I think that's just this integral part of homeschooling, as is the education part, is showing, the kids a good, healthy marriage as well. So, we want to model that for our children, so they know what to expect in life, so that they can have healthy relationships. Because if they think that it's all about them, then they don't have a good concept of their place in the world, and that, mommy may love you, but you are not the the center of the universe or anything like that. But it's, his involvement is amazing. I mean, but he's really just an amazing guy. I mean, he's just really, really family focused. Before we had kids, he was, very family focused, as far as, making sure that, I never, wondered, like, what are you doing and what's going on? Like, he would ask me about my work day. He always knew, what's my boss's name? What's my coworkers' names? Who am I friends with? Because he would listen to me when I came home and talked about what was going on at work. He would be attentive to that. So, and I try to do the same thing. So we tend to just try to foster the friendship that we had before we got married. And he's just an amazing guy. So I want to make sure that I foster that, because we only have 3 kids, and they're pretty much clustered in age. And I didn't want to be, a couple where, we're so focused on the kids that when the kids, became adults and left the house, we were just kind of like, and what's your name? So what do you like? We wanted to make sure that we, had a good marriage, and for us, a good marriage is being friends. And one of the big things that my husband was also really, really good about was the fact that I told him, I mean, I've been really honest with my husband in that he is my adult interaction for the most part. And so he does have to bear the responsibility of, giving me a glimpse of the outside world, because I'm home with the kids. And when I'm not home with the kids, I'm, usually at university. And so, you're not friends with your students. And so he is most of the time who I'm talking to. He is my adult interaction. And so he understands that if he doesn't talk to me, I'm going to be the crazy lady that's talking to the walls or the sky or something like that, because it's not like we have a pet, so I can't just talk to the dog about my woes and troubles and worries. So my husband has been really good as far as making sure that I'm not feeling like it's just me in a bubble, but he is really great. We'll sit there and we'll talk about politics or worldview and I mean just all kinds of stuff. So I really appreciate that about him, that he's really wants to make sure that the homeschooling process is good for me. Like, of course we're going to make sure that it's good for the kids, but he's making sure that it's good for me as well. And so I really, really appreciate that. When it comes to homeschooling itself, we're actually having a really good time. October started off as a great month. The one thing that we've changed in the last few weeks is that we've started to add in a lot more field trips, and that is, man, balancing that schedule is, I have to admit, I'm like, juggle, because there's so many good opportunities. I live in a area that's pretty homeschool friendly, so there's a lot of stuff that's available for the kids. So we are trying to balance that, and the kids have started to take some classes. So my oldest is doing a couple classes, history of aviation and robotics. The twins are doing a robotics course, as well as that's like once a week. So my oldest is going all day once a week, and the twins are going half a day once a week. And then they also have an art class. And so we are just kind of getting in all the kind of supplemental stuff and all the fun stuff. And then I told you guys about the competitions and stuff they're going to be doing, and different presentations and stuff that they're getting ready for. So that's always, it's really fun. I love that they're getting an opportunity to go out and speak in public situations and present some of their scientific work and present their inventions and different things that they're doing. And so I love that they have the opportunity to do those things, but you do have to practice and get ready and actually invent what you said you were going to invent, or conduct the science that you're supposed to do. So it's just balancing that in addition to their music, instruments, and they just, for dance, they have huge recitals and stuff that are going to be coming up in a few months. And because their dance school does huge productions, we're kind of like getting our head wrapped around those practices and stuff. So things kind of picked up for us a little bit, and so we're trying to still make sure that we have as laid back approach as you can have when you do have some deadlines that you're working up against. Like, I would love to unschool, but my kids, they like competition, so you can't really completely unschool, because sometimes you have to guide them because they're so young. They sometimes forget that, oh yeah, you need to practice before you get up there for recital and play. People, you have committed to the audience to do your best, so mommy has to make sure that you are at your best, which means you at least need to practice. So I'm just trying to keep that balance. But other than that, things are going really, really well. I am enjoying, continuing to enjoy the homeschooling process, continuing to enjoy the kids and watching them grow and develop. I will say my youngest son, the other half of the Wonder Twins, he has been the one who has shown the most, just amazing advancements this year so far, in especially in math. And my daughter, has just taken off in reading. So I have just been holding my hat, because the kids have been just going so fast through stuff and just really, really loving the learning process. So I'm very, very grateful for that, and we are having tons of fun. So Tiff Azora, thank you so much for continuing Homeschool Moms Connect, and hope this is at least interesting for people. if not informative. So this is Dr. J, and I'm out. Bye bye.